So it looks like Coppa is not doing nearly as bad as we had feared. Hey everybody, I'm Bill with Live Simple, Live Free, and this is an update on Coppa, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. A couple months ago, I did a video about Coppa and basically all of the dire consequences, and the prediction was that it was basically going to put YouTube creators out of business. They were talking about all kinds of fines of up to $42,000 for every video that was made for kids. And if you document it or if you listed it on YouTube as being made for kids, then you wouldn't get any revenue, and so from the ads. So it was basically going to put people out of business if they had kids in their video, or if their videos were made for kids at all in any way. Well, it turns out that's not the case. And a lot of people were accusing me of not knowing what I'm talking about and being totally overblown and fear-mongering and all that kind of stuff. All I was doing in that video was telling you what lawyers were saying and what a lot of the big YouTubers were saying. And I just took their word for it because they know more than I do, right? I mean, one was a social media lawyer, so he should know what he's talking about. So at the time that I made that video, there was actually a lot of fear going around the YouTube community. And what's tragic is that there were a lot of good channels that have actually shut down when they shouldn't have. They had no reason to, as you'll see as I go further into this video. But just to let you know, I actually took down my video because a lot of it was wrong information based on what these lawyers were telling me. And I do not want to be in a situation where I'm giving out misinformation and creating confusion and fear. So I took it down. Well, it turns out the main issue was not what the FTC was doing, but the main issue was what YouTube was doing, and that they were not clear in giving us YouTube creators the guidance that we needed. So they YouTube just recently put out a video to further explain the situation. So let me show you portions of this video and make comments on it as it goes.
Hi, I'm Lauren, the head of family partnerships at YouTube. I'm here to answer your latest questions about our new audience setting on YouTube and the steps we're taking to ensure compliance with Coppa, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. How does your system define content as made for kids? Our systems look for signals that indicate that a video is clearly made for kids, such as the presence of child actors, characters, activities, games, toys, songs, or stories that children like.
And therein, for me, lies the major problem, because in the guidelines that YouTube gave us, it said specifically, how do they know it's made for kids? And one of the things they said was if it has the presence of child actors or child models in the video. To me, a child actor means that any family vlog that shows a family birthday party, if it's got kids in it, those are child actors, and therefore it could fall under the made for kids category and be susceptible to a $42,000 fine. Well, it turns out that's not the case. And I think that what made matters worse and really built the fear was this clip of a FTC official talking about fish in a barrel. Listen to this.
FTC is bringing independent piecemeal actions against content creators for violating Coppa. That may discourage content creators from posting content on YouTube. So the analogy that I think of, imperfect, is the expression about shooting fish in a barrel. And YouTube is the barrel, and the content creators are the fish.
So that sounds really scary, right? YouTube telling us basically that if there's any kids in the video, that it's going to fall under Coppa, and FTC talking about fish in a barrel and $42,000 fines. Yeah, it scared a lot of people off. But that's really not the case. And in the video that YouTube made for us creators to explain more about the situation, she talks a lot about intent. What is your intent? And it's not so much whether there's a kid in the video, it's mostly what is the intent of who is your intended target for your viewing audience. So let's listen a little bit to what she has to say.
Okay, so let's dive into some of the top questions we've been hearing from you. I make videos that are safe for everyone to watch. I even call them family friendly. Does that mean my videos are made for kids? No. Just because a video may be safe or appropriate for everyone to watch does not mean that the video is necessarily made for kids. What's important is who you're trying to reach with your videos. What's important is who you're trying to reach with your videos. According to factors laid out by the FTC, if your video has actors, characters, activities, games, songs, stories, or other subject matter that is intended for a children's audience, it's likely made for kids. If not, it's unlikely that your content needs to be marked as made for kids. What if children watch my video, but it's not meant to target kids? According to the new guidance released by the FTC, your content isn't considered made for kids just because some children may see it. If your video is meant to target adults and children incidentally enjoy it, it's likely not made for kids. Does this impact Minecraft or gaming videos? What about family vloggers? Remember, according to the FTC, your content isn't considered made for kids just because some children may see it. Although games like Minecraft might appeal to children, what's important is whether the content you've created itself is directed towards kids. Same for family vloggers. Some family vloggers make content for kids, while others target parents and adults.
Now, another major thing that YouTube did that is totally confusing is they only gave us two categories: made for kids, not made for kids. The FTC actually has four categories. They have made for kids, they have made for mixed audience, made for general audience, and not made for kids, or made for adults. YouTube totally ignored the general audience category. So it sounded from YouTube like if you had a child in your video, it clearly intended for kids, or it was for kids because it had a child actor in it. But the FTC recognizes that there is the general audience category that covers probably 95% of the videos on YouTube. And the FTC says that there's no problem with the general audience category. Now, in this video where YouTube is explaining it to us, they bring up general audience and mixed audience for the first time, and she explains it, but they still do not give us a general audience category in when we categorize who our videos are made for. We still only have the choice on YouTube of selecting either made for kids or not made for kids.
Is general audience content the same as mixed audience content? No, general audience content is content that is intended for an audience over 13. Remember, just because a video may be safe or appropriate for everyone to watch does not mean that the video is necessarily made for kids and would not need to be marked as made for kids on YouTube.
But she says here, and she reiterates it many times through this video explaining it to us, what's important is who is your intended target audience.
If you have content that is appropriate for both children and adults, what's important is who you're intending to target. What's important is who you're intending to target. If you have some videos that are intentionally targeting children and some that are definitely not, you can set your audience at the individual video level in YouTube Studio.
So you can tell when you watch a video whether it's intended for adults or whether it's intended for general audience or whether it's intended for children to watch. And just because it has kids in it doesn't mean it's intended for children. Just because it has animation in it, it doesn't mean it's intended for children. And that's the main thing that the FTC will be looking at, is whether the intended audience is children. But YouTube just didn't explain that to us. Now, I also found another video by a YouTube creator, and I don't know who he is. I've never seen him before. He's a young man, but he's a real player in YouTube because he's got over 800,000 subscribers on his channel. And he recently actually made a trip to Washington, D.C. and sat down with the commissioner of the FTC to ask all of these questions. And so he came back and he did this video, and he's basically relieved that it's not so bad as you think. I'm not going to put up the whole video because it's kind of long, and all of it wouldn't be of interest to most of you unless you're actually thinking about making a YouTube channel. But one of the things that he says right up front is that the $42,000 fine per video, that's up to $42,000. And he was told by the commissioner that it's not the intent of the FTC to bankrupt YouTube creators. And if they do levy a fine, it's going to be commensurate with your income. So if you make $20,000 a year from YouTube, they're not going to fine you $42,000 for each video. They're going to just give you a small fine. They're not going to bankrupt you. So, here's what he has to say about that.
What I can tell you is what they told me and let you make a decision based on that info, okay? So everything I'm about to tell you is it's not my opinion or anything like that. If I do share my opinion, I will straight up, make sure you guys are aware it's my opinion. But everything I'm about to say is just what they told me pretty much point blank, okay? So let's get into this. All right, so we kind of talked about fines in the last video where I called someone from the FTC and talked to them, but let's get into it again real quick. First off, the FTC wanted to nail home the fact that they are not going to bankrupt creators, okay? It's not going to happen. They're not going to be fining people $42,000 per video. Even in YouTube's case, where they were violating Coppa left and right, they weren't fined $42,000 per violation. It was, like $170 million is a lot, but, to YouTube, that's not really a lot. So they're not going to be bankrupting creators. They're going to take into effect how much money you make, how much of a hit can your business take and, still keep you in business, and a lot of other factors. So if you're worried about a fine bankrupting you, or you're going to lose your house or your family or anything, don't worry about that. That's not going to happen. There's actually an amendment, and I'm not sure if this is what they're specifically talking about, but they specifically mentioned that they can't do unruly punishment. So the punishment has to fit the crime. So they can't, fine you $100 million if you make $2,000 a year. Obviously that's just not going to fly.
Now, like I said, I'm not going to put this whole video up as part of my video because it's 18 minutes long, and a lot of it is tedious stuff that just the average viewer wouldn't be interested in. But if you are a YouTube creator, or if you're thinking about becoming a YouTube creator, you would find all of this very interesting. So I'll put the link down below in the description. The video is called YouTube is Saved. Now, what's the bottom line for all of this? After I did that first video talking about all the dire consequences, a lot of you, my subscribers, came back and said things like, well, I've just started a YouTube channel. Maybe I need to quit. Or I was thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but now I'm not going to go near it. Bottom line is, go for it. Don't be concerned. The only issue is if your video isn't clearly intended for children. If it's not, you're going to be fine, even if you have kids in it. And if you do have some videos that are clearly intended for children, then you have to categorize it that way in YouTube. And so what that means is that they're going to cut out most of the advertising, but not all of it. They will cut out advertising, which is how you earn your revenue, for any ad that is personalized, that is ads that are based on the information that YouTube gathers about the viewer. Those will be eliminated, but you will still be able to get ad revenue from generalized ads that will still run in front of those videos. It's just that you won't get as much. But for most of you, you will not be doing videos that are clearly intended for children. So like I said, go for it. I hope that helps. I hope that alleviates some of the fears. So we are going to continue on and not even worry about it. We had some of our older videos that had our grandchildren in it before they were 13, which I thought we would have to take those videos down or mark them as being made for kids. That's not the case. So we're just going to truck on forward and not worry about it. And most of you can do the same thing. I hope that was helpful to you in alleviating some of the fear. So thanks for watching. Be blessed.